Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to be responding to a video posted by The Guardian entitled, "I thought I could be a politician and a human being. I was wrong," by Jess Phillips. Now, if you don't know who Jess Phillips is, well, I won't prejudge her for you. You can see her for yourself and make your own decisions. So without further ado, I'll give you Jess Phillips.
I always said that I would never be one of those politicians who just delivers a line. I'll just be myself. The number one criticism aimed at politicians is that we are all the same.
Well, wait a minute. I would have said that the number one criticism of politicians is that they care more about special interests and the needs of corporations than the actual people they're supposed to represent. But sure, I'll grant you that politicians all being the same is indeed a frequent criticism. So, go on.
Robots delivering the line. You know what? I completely agree. It's one of the reasons I got into politics in the first place. I wanted to use some of my time in Parliament to get people to think that politicians were people like them, real humans with real lives who feel stuff.
Well, that's an improvement over them being worse than the average person, but to me, a politician should be better than the average person, not just an average person. But that's just my personal political stance.
So I ignored all the advice to keep my personal life out of the picture. I talked about my kids, my husband, my dad, my late mom, my mates. I gave my actual opinion in answer to the questions, rather than towing the party line.
That last part is admirable, but I for one am not a fan of the frequent political tactic of a politician using their family to gain support. You know, like, for example, Obama parading his daughters in front of the crowd to show he's just a regular dad.
I answered honestly, rather than saying what I'd already decided to say regardless of the question. How stupid of me.
No, that's actually a good tactic in the modern day. I'd say actually that's the number one reason Trump has the support he does. The issue is that once you start speaking honestly, it starts mattering more what you say. See, those carefully planned answers most politicians give are designed to not offend anyone, and to be agreeable to the people who vote for them. Your issue is that your honest opinion sometimes runs completely counter to what many members of the voting public actually believe.
How terribly arrogant to think that I could change it.
Well, yeah, it was unlikely that you would change things on your own. Perhaps some more charisma would have helped.
How precocious of me to criticise other politicians for seeming robotic. Now I realise they just learnt quicker than me that displaying your personality only leads to trouble.
Trump would disagree. But yes, on a grand scale you're correct, because most people don't have a personality that everyone will like. So if you display your personality, odds are many people will dislike you. The key is to have a good enough personality that the good responses outweigh the bad. Your personality has, unfortunately, failed that test.
Showing you exposes you, and with that exposure comes attention, loads of it. Attention at best leads you the wrong way, and at worst it screams stupid bitch in your face.
So the worst thing that happens is people scream stupid bitch to your face? Sounds like being a politician isn't actually that bad. Funny, but if I didn't want attention, especially if I didn't want negative attention, I would never try to become a politician. You're essentially entering a popularity contest as a profession, and you don't want attention? Seems strange to me.
It's the fear of that backlash that turns politicians into the line-driven robots you find so frustrating.
No, I'd actually say it's an intentional strategy on the part of those politicians to keep people as apathetic as possible. They don't want the public to care what they say because most of the public, if they actually knew everything that was going on, would be outraged. In an ideal world, a politician's job should be to get a lot of outrage and hatred directed their way, kind of like referees in sport. Most politicians have figured out, though, that the best way to not get any hate is to not call any penalties.
You can't be taken the wrong way if you tirelessly repeat a meaningless bit of jargon, and it's just tiring to have lots of people shout at you all the time.
Well, having a job is often tiring, sorry to say. Again, if you don't want attention, don't be a politician.
One day, you sit back and realise that being all the same is probably the best option.
Yes, for you it is, but is that the best option for the country or for the people you represent? No, of course not. But here you are demonstrating, once again, that you don't care one iota about the people you represent.
The thing is, the establishment wants citizens to believe we are all the same. It keeps the power firmly in their hands. And you know what? They think it about all of you. The public isn't made up of individuals, it's big groups of homogenous people who can all be judged the same and handled accordingly.
Yep, politicians do tend to view people in blocks, much like feminists and social justice types. But that's a bit off topic.
No room for individuality in the established order. So we think you're all the same and you think we're all the same. It's a lot easier that way. We can pass laws without regard for how it affects individuals, and you can believe that we're all faceless bureaucrats. So for each outcry, it seems that actually being all the same is the best and easiest option, and we shouldn't criticise our politicians for it anymore. But then again, the easy option rarely changed the world.
So what's the message here? The best thing for Jess Phillips, the politician, is to just toe the line and not give her honest opinion. Because when she does, she gets a lot of hate. And I completely agree with that. However, her solution seems to be that she should be allowed to keep giving her honest opinion, but without all the hate that comes with it. Sorry, Jess, but that's never going to happen. The solution I see is that more politicians should certainly be encouraged to give their honest opinion. But when the public express strong disagreement with that opinion, the politician should either ignore it, change their opinion, or get out of politics. The public not disagreeing anymore should not even be an option. Yet this entire video was an attempt to guilt people into not expressing their dissent. And what was this dissent about again? Oh yeah, this was the woman who couldn't stop herself from laughing while a fellow politician was talking about male suicide and having a discussion of men's issues. She demonstrated on that day that she doesn't care about the men in the country or about the men she represents. She cares about herself and her own beliefs, and that's it. Well, you know what, Jess? This video has just made me more committed to my plan to spread the word about you on the next election. I don't think you're the type of person who should be a politician. The same, of course, could be said about almost every other politician, but none of them that I know of have laughed in the face of male suicide. So, in case you can't tell, I really dislike this woman. And what is with the way she bobs her head while she talks anyway? It's very unusual. What's not unusual, though, is the excellent comments that you're sure to leave on this video. So I thank you heartily for watching, and I wish you all the best.